Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 16th of April. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, we've seen a bit of more retracement overnight. We got down as low as, I don't know, sleep for that bit. We got down as low as 53.41. I think we could go lower today. That might be enough. I was saying in my post yesterday that really, if we're going to go higher, which I'm thinking we might, then it would be a good thing to see a bit more of a retracement to set up a better looking potential support trend line. And we're seeing that so far. I think it could go a bit lower. My eye is drawn to the weekly pivot at 52.50. Doesn't need to go that low, but it could. So I would like to see that. And overall, this would look like, although it wouldn't classically necessarily be a bull flag forming, but basically a bullish consolidation before likely higher highs. All right, subject to the news, of course. If we get, there are various new tariffs being pondered at the moment, lots of trade deals being negotiated. The new tariffs are potentially on semiconductors, on pharmaceuticals, which can have a very wide impact, India, Britain, Europe. And electronics. So obviously these would be based in different places. They would have a sizable impact in all probability, and if they start getting announced and implemented, then actually we may well find this rally is suddenly over. But I'm not expecting that to happen before Easter. I am wondering if it might happen in the week or two after Easter. Okay, looking at RTY. Not seeing a lot of retracement here, but I'm just looking for a less steep support trend line, set up higher highs and give us the possibility of giving us a pattern, which is something we would usually see, although these are not usual times, obviously. Seen a bit of a retrace here on YM and Q. Yeah, we're getting into the zone. I just want a trend line that doesn't look like this. I want something that looks more sustainable, that we can actually work with more. DAX and STX, both looking pretty good on that front too. Bit more retracement ideally, but actually to an extent, if we open up at these levels, which we probably will, then I could potentially work with this. I'd like to see it a bit lower ideally. All right, looking at the bigger picture, there is something else to see here, but we're not going to really see what's happening on here until we see the open. But we've got these open RSI 14 sell signals on the 15-minute RSI 14s. We've got those on SPX. We've got them on Qs. We've got them on Dia. I'd like to see these make at least a possible near miss target in the 35 area on the RSI 14 on the 15-minute chart. So we could reach those at the open. We did go down a fair amount overnight. If we could retest the overnight lows at least on the S, then really, we'd probably do that. We will see, and that will give me more to work with in terms of support trend line, although ideally, really, just from a pure trend line point of view, I'm not saying this is necessarily a target, but ideally, we'd get down to here. Now that would actually be significantly lower. This would be in about the 5100 area on SPX. Don't know if there's a shot at getting that low, but if I had a wish list for where we would get to, it would be that. So I'm just going to leave that in on dotted. But I'm not saying we're going to reach that, and we may well not. Okay, let's have a look at the daily middle band. Still well short of it, still getting closer. If we can see a bit more of a retrace before we test it, I think we have a reasonable chance of getting through it. And I'd be we're looking at the this resistance trend line here. Looking at Qs, we're already testing the daily middle band. In fact, we've seen 3 tests on different days of the daily middle band now in effect. And we're pretty close to the declining resistance. This is looking weaker than the other two. Dia is the furthest away from the declining resistance trend line, which you can see on the hourly chart here. Do we have possible patterns down here? Yes. And I mentioned this yesterday, and what I also said was that these didn't look like longer-term patterns. They looked unsustainable. And the reason is, one, these two trend lines are moving away from each other at a very rapid rate. And two, this is a very, very steep support trend line. And obviously, if this pattern was to continue, and let's say we made it up to resistance, and we went down to support, that support is receding at a very, very rapid rate. So this isn't the sort of pattern which generally I would expect to last long, but it could last a while longer. Hang on, I'll just knock these onto the 3 month time scale I was drawing these on yesterday. But they're not bad patterns, decent trend lines. These are legitimate targets. On all three of these is that we'll be reaching them at different times. So I wouldn't expect these all to hit target and then reverse exactly there. That's probably going to happen on one, possibly two, but really not on three. All right, let's have a look, unless these start. Well, it just looks very unlikely from this stage. I'd be surprised to say. Okay, looking at IWM. IWM haven't really got the same as the others. We've still got this nice looking double bottom. I'm still skeptical about that delivering. Again, a bit more of a retracement to set up a support trend line, but it's mainly SPX I'm looking at on that because that's the least promising setup at the moment. But if we could get down to that ideal target I was talking about, the 5100 area, maybe if we hit it on, let's say, Monday, maybe up in the 5150 or 5200 area, that would be great. IWM, we're still very well short of the daily middle band or declining resistance, but if we make it to declining resistance on buyer, we might manage that. Looking at DAX, nice rally here. Again, wondering about a test of the daily middle band, which is dropping rapidly. All of these daily middle bands dropping rapidly. I've got that in the 21,750 area at the moment, and on Nikkei. Nikkei, again, wondering about that, and I've got that in the 35,500 area at the moment. Okay, right, let's have a look at DX. Now, DX, I'm wondering about a serious rally here. Now, short term, this looks like a bear flag or a triangle. I'm expecting to see a retest this low, but we've got quite a nice looking support trend line here. And I'm wondering if we could see a rally back up to resistance here. Now, if there's less talk of tariffs for a bit, and if we see a move up into and move higher on rallies, an extension of the rally for a week or two, I think we could potentially see this rally. This could, one, give a really good area to sell, and two, just burn off a bit of energy. And I've got an assortment of setups here which are looking promising for at least a pullback. GBP, USD, got a nice looking little double bottom here on USD CAD. Little IHS has already broken up, pretty much made target. But Australian dollar and NZ, all of these are looking as though we can see, we've got this 6-minute sell signal which has just been moving up here, but we can see a bit of a pullback here. NZ again. I'm wondering about a decent rally on DX here. I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this low third, but after that, I'm thinking if we can hold this level here, we could see a rally up for the next 2 or 3 weeks. After that, I'm leaning fairly strongly to the downside. ZB, I'm still working on this bonds post. I was expecting to have it yesterday. It's not an easy one to write because really what I'm trying to do is I'm presenting a scenario which really just looks like the economic apocalypse, 2008, but maybe worse. And I'm trying to explain why actually that could fairly easily happen and might be starting already. So it's not the easiest thing to do. I'm not necessarily saying it is going to happen. I'm not going onto the top of a high mountain going doom, doom, doom. But I'm just saying that there is a real vulnerability here. And sometimes things happen because people think they're unthinkable and therefore they don't actually guard against them. But sometimes unthinkable things actually happen, particularly when people really aren't guarding against them. And at the moment, well, that's what I'm outlining here. So the post will be out today. Have a look at it when I've got it. Don't think that I'm necessarily saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying that rationally it may well happen, and there's pretty good reasons for it too. So think about that. But I hope you enjoy it. It's been a tricky one to write. All right. So ZB, we're seeing a bit of a rally here. This rally could go a bit higher. When it finishes, I'm expecting this to go down quite a lot. CL, we've got a little IHS here, and it's been slow to develop, which I quite like. It's a really nice looking pattern, and we're starting to break up from it. This has a target. I think it's slightly lower than it was because it's taken longer to break up than I expected. I think we got a target here at about 71 area, 61 monthly pivot at 69.39. We'll see how that goes. NG, we got a possible bottoming pattern here, but we've also got this really nice looking support trend line. I am liking a rally here. Obvious initial target would be this declining resistance and double bottom resistance or possible IHS resistance, which is currently at about 3.84 area. I'm liking a rally from there. Retest this low and we can get a little buy signal, but it would be weak. GC has gone up. We've now had 2 sell signals fail, and I forgot to edit this one. We've had two sell signals fail, and this is something that can happen in a very strong uptrend. One thing I'm going to be doing in my post, not today, but the next one after that, which is going to be coming out on Thursday or Friday. One thing I'm going to be doing there is illustrating why I think we might see a move, if we see a big move away from US Treasuries, why we might see a big move towards other currencies, which I will point out and name, but mainly they're going to be the euro, GBP, USD, Australian dollar, and also into other physical assets. I think I'm thinking of gold, very possibly silver, possibly palladium and platinum as well, and I'll be talking about those and reviewing what the current proportions in terms of reserve currencies are and how that has changed over the last 40 years and how that could change fairly rapidly from here. All right, so watch out for that. But obviously, if I'm right, and crypto, I'm thinking could be a beneficiary as well. And if I'm right, then obviously gold might go a lot higher than this. And last time we had a big financial crisis, gold actually came down. This time, I think it could go up because this could be the flight to safety destination that US Treasuries increasingly aren't. In fact, it could be a flight to safety destination effectively away from US Treasuries. All right, SI. We've gone up here. A sell signal has failed here too. We're reaching a bit of a resistance area here. I'm not seeing much reason for this to stop, and I would love this to go higher. I do have a potential target in the 38 area, which I'd very much like to see made. HG, I'm very, very not optimistic about the odds of HG at the moment. I think we retested this, made a high here, and I think that's probably going to hold for a while and doesn't need a retest. Short term, we've broken down from rising support. We've got a little head and shoulders forming, and we might be seeing a move back towards the weekly pivot area of 4.37. All right, currencies we've already on. KC, broken up from an IHS. We've got the obvious trendline resistance up here in about 389 area, and we've got the obvious IHS target in about 398 area. I think this has a pretty good chance of making target. SB, we're kind of in a big inflection point here, and it could be breaking down. The lower we go, the more likely it is that we are breaking down. So trickling lower here is not encouraging, and we did have a potential level bottom here, which we don't now. I'm thinking this may be breaking down, and if it does, have a look at the bigger picture where I'm talking about this. It could go a lot lower, so be very wary of sugar at the moment. CC, we still got a nice looking double bottom. It's still done absolutely nothing. I think this has got a shot, but I don't have strong feelings about it. CW still looks like a bear flag forming on corn. We had a sell signal, it made target. We had a bullish consolidation, and I think we're heading up, and I've got a target on this double bottom in the 513 area. On soy, I'm actually kind of surprised it's actually done this well, and it's holding up. We had a 6-minute sell signal. It's made the possible near miss target. This looks like a bull flag forming, and it looks like it's going to retest the high. Why is soy so strong? I don't know. Is this likely to end in coming weeks? Yeah, I think so. Not unless the trade war with China ends soon, and even then, the Chinese are making long-term arrangements with people they can actually probably trust more not to put huge tariffs on them. The Brazilians, the Europeans. It may well be that all the soy they've been buying for the Americans wouldn't come back anyway if this goes much longer. We'll see how that goes. But I'm skeptical about the future for soy here. CT, keeping an open mind on this one. Really looking at this, just glancing at this, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this low here at 62, but I don't feel strongly about it. Okay, lumber. Nice looking double bottom, skeptical about it playing out. Live cattle, we had a double bottom here and it dumped and made target, and then we had an IHS form here, and that's broken up. I think it's got a decent shot of making target too, and I've got that target in about the 207 area. So we shall see. All right, I'm looking at lean hogs. We're testing the monthly pivot area. I'm thinking about possible resistance here, and we may well see it. We've got no pattern set up really to take this any higher. We could well see a fail here. All right, let's have a look at questions, and I've got a private message, so let's have a look. Yeah, my pleasure as always. And looking at ES, this could be a bull flag. We could go up directly from here. I'd like to see it go a bit lower, but as I've mentioned regularly, the market doesn't actually take requests. I'd like this to go lower to give me a better looking support trend line on SPX. I am wondering about a test of the weekly pivot area at 52.50, but mainly I'd like to see some downside today, which is enough to make the 15-minute sell signal targets, because I think they want to make target, and then see a higher high after that. Okay, I think we're good for the rest of the week, unless more tariffs are announced, which of course is kind of a random thing which is impossible to predict. But I'm thinking that's more likely to come next week or the week after, and I think this rally looks as though it may well go on till then. After that, well, we could see a pretty hard fail. So be wary. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning, and a reminder that, of course, Friday is a holiday. After this is the weekends tomorrow evening. So, all right, catch you guys tomorrow.